Sit right here and I'll take my first off.
Go up there and take a look and see. He said you're all. Oh, they all do. I did it 3 times. It didn't hurt.
Go ahead and get started with the program. And but first I want to, and they've gone, the sandwich shop, we wanted to thank them, but it was an excellent meal, wasn't it? Yeah. I didn't get to go while they're still here, but I did talk to her and told her how good it was. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker for this evening, Reverend Dennis Johnson, and there's a little bit of information in your newsletter. So I'll just introduce him, and he's going to present our program on the Presbyterian Church for 175 years. And so I'll just let him tell you what was to do there.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I had a program video prepared that would have some pictures, black and white, that would go back a number of years, and some colored too. And I discovered they don't have a TV and VCR here in this level, so you're going to have to use your imagination. And your imagination will be better than the black and white pictures that I had, I'll guarantee you that. I'm going to speak from a prepared text for the first part of my presentation, and then with the aid of Mr. Bernard Mabry, who was on our history committee of our Presbyterian, I'm going to show some slides that have some of the history celebrations that we've done during the course of this year. It was back in the frontier days of 1818, the same year that Illinois became a state, entered the Union, only 4 years after the Wood River Massacre. I think you probably remember that, don't you? But it was at this time that organized worship was started in the meeting house in the Grove. And I know you've probably all heard that name, the meeting house in the Grove. This was a forerunner of our present Presbyterian congregation. And the congregation was organized on May the 3rd, 1823 by the Reverend Salmon Giddings. Pioneering Christians established the first Sunday school in Illinois at Milton on Wood River in 1819, and within the same year Collinsville, which was then called Unionville, enjoyed a similar Sunday school. This was the year that the Kickapoo Indians signed a treaty ceding the central portion of what is now Illinois, including Peoria, their principal town, to the United States. William B. Collins and 3 of his brothers, Augustus, Anson, and Michael, had settled in what is now Collinsville in 1817. The Collins brothers were energetic businessmen and built a sawmill, a flour mill, and a distillery. I've got an interesting story to tell you about that in just a moment. Soon after their arrival here, and these industries prospered. The community which sprang up around their business enterprises was first called Unionville. The Postmaster General of the United States later changed the name to Collinsville because there was already a Unionville post office in Illinois. Shortly after the Collins brothers' arrival, and soon as they had become established in the new community, they erected a small frame building to be used for the worship of God. This was later known as the Meeting House in the Grove. This building was erected in 1818 and reputedly was the oldest frame meeting house in Illinois. Now, a number of the documents that we had access to said that this meeting house in the Grove sat somewhere on South Chestnut Street in what was originally the village square. But Bud Buzier told me that wasn't true. He remembered that, and he knew that wasn't true. So we went up to the courthouse in Edwardsville, and we spent the best part of an afternoon looking through the books up there, and just about gave up hopes of finding the plat of the original town, the original plat, which was done in 1837. And finally, we just happened to stumble across it more or less by accident. And the plat shows that the meeting house in the Grove stood approximately where the present City Hall now stands. And how the other information got in there, I don't have any idea. A two-story house built in 1821 in preparation for the coming of the Collins brothers' parents, younger brother, and three sisters stood on the corner of Church and Aurora Streets, where a new apartment building now exists. I think Edna Evans lives in that apartment building. Is that correct, Edna? No? Brainer home, okay. You don't live in the Brainer home, I know that, Edna. The First Presbyterian Church of Collinsville, as I said, was organized on May 3rd, 1823, and has the distinction of being the oldest Presbyterian church in continuous existence in Madison County. And it is the sixth oldest Presbyterian church in the state of Illinois. So we really have a marvelous history. The original members were William Collins, now that was the father of William B., Augustus Collins, Esther Collins, who was the wife of William Collins, Elizabeth B. Collins, who was the wife of William B. Collins, Eliza Collins, Elmira Collins, and Frederick Collins. We, of course, have with us tonight one of the oldest surviving members of the Collins family. Where did she go to? She was here. And let me finish the list here. Oriel Wilcox, Susan Wilcox, Horace Look, and Emma C. Look. And we also have one of the oldest surviving members of the Look family, if you will admit to it, Irving Gilliard. Good to have him here tonight.
Thank you.
The seven Collins were all members of the William Collins family, and the organizing minister was the Reverend Salmon Giddings, M.A., New Englander by birth, who had been sent westward by the Connecticut Missionary Society. Reverend Giddings arrived in St. Louis in 1816 and immediately entered upon his duties. The interesting thing about Salmon Giddings was that he left Massachusetts as a Baptist, and when he arrived in Collinsville, or St. Louis, he was a Presbyterian. Somewhere along the way, he saw the light, I think, and changed his denomination. He was instrumental in establishing several Presbyterian churches in this area, among which were Collinsville, Edwardsville, and the First Presbyterian Church of St. Louis, of which he was the first pastor. Uniting with two other Presbyterian ministers, he formed the Presbyterian Missouri, and in 1820 he attended General Assembly as the first commissioner from this new presbytery. First elders in the church were William Collins and Oriel Wilcox. Horace Look and William B. Collins, son of William Collins, helped lay out the original town plat of Collinsville. That's what the history book says, but it really was Elizabeth who did that. William B. might have done some of the work, but by 1837, William B. Collins had died of typhus. And so he was not living at the time that the plat was filed. And I have a copy of that plat here, if you'd like to look at it later. And you can see where it says church, that was the meeting house in the Grove. There were a few other buildings standing at that time. Residence over on Aurora, which was probably the house that was built by the Collinses for their parents. And you can come and take a look at that later on. But that's a copy of the plat that Bud and I spent all afternoon looking for and finally found. The Collins brothers were civic-minded, and in addition to contributing their lands for the site of the present church, they also provided land for the present City Hall, Webster School, Glenwood Cemetery. Their religious beliefs at length convinced the Collins brothers that distilling business was unchristian and should be abandoned. Okay, let me tell you the story. The early church did not have a full-time pastor. And so on Sundays when there was no minister to speak from the pulpit, it was the practice to read sermons that had been sent out from the east. And some of those sermons were temperance sermons. And William B. Collins was chosen one Sunday to read one of those temperance sermons, and he got up and read it. And he did a very fine job of it. But when they got home that afternoon, Elizabeth said to her husband, "Do you not find it odd that you have been preaching on the badness of alcohol, and yet you yourself run a still?" And he thought for a moment and he said, "No, I never thought of that before." And the next morning he went out, and it says here his brothers. I don't think his brothers had anything to do with it. It was William B. Collins who destroyed the still. They destroyed it entirely. And that was what broke up the Collins family, and that was why the Collins brothers, all except for William B., moved away to different territory. The family business had been ruined, and it was at an extreme cost. Now, of course, Presbyterians are not teetotalers anymore. At least some of them aren't. But the moral of the story is, imagine the sacrifice that this man made for his beliefs. I wonder if any of us, with the beliefs that we have, would be willing to make that much of a sacrifice for our beliefs, no matter what they might be. And I think it had something to do also with William B. Collins' death, because it wasn't long after that he did succumb to typhoid fever, to typhus, and died. Go ahead and listen to those comments afterwards. The meeting house in the Grove served as a place of worship from 1818 until 1843. From the time of its organization until 1835, the church was aided by the Missionary Society of Massachusetts. And it was not until 1840 that they obtained their first full-time pastor. Before this, the pulpit had been filled by part-time pastors. In 1843, the frame building was erected on the present site at Church and Morrison Streets as a donation from William B. Collins, read that, Elizabeth B. Collins. The cost of this church was $1,800. In addition to the church building, there was a small frame building on the northwest corner of the lot, which was known as the Session House. Well, let me do another little aside here to say that the person who built that first church building was D.D. Collins. Am I right on that, Bud? the first actual church building, yes, D.D. Collins, who also built the Bond House. And he was no relation to the original Collinses. But he had been in Chicago, and he had built a church in Chicago for Presbyterians there. And in payment, they had given him some land just across the road from the church that he had built. And he thought he didn't want to own that worthless piece of land, so he gave it to somebody and moved out. Today, that piece of land is right downtown Chicago and would be worth a mint of money. Let's see. Through the years, the church has known times of growth. It has known times of decline in membership, going up as high as 600 and then down again, and then back up to almost 1,000 in the 1950s and early 60s. And the membership at this present time is around 450, if you count the cats and dogs. No, it's pretty close to that. All right. As I say, I got the Platt thing here, and I've got some other books over there that you might want to look through. Give you a little more of a picture, but with the help of Mr. Mabry, we're going to look at a few slides, and I will comment on those. Most of them have to do with our celebration, which we did February through July of this last year. We had at least one big celebration per month. We had an extra celebration on May the 3rd, which happened to fall on a Sunday this year. And so we did celebrate on the actual day with a service. And somebody who knows how that thing runs, that's not his. I think you need to go the other way, Bernard.
Leave the light on for
No. Somebody, anybody.
You want the lamp on?
Yes, please.
Front button's forward, back button is reverse. Okay.
No, we got something backwards.
Some of these slides may be backwards. Mr. Mabry came over a few days ago, a week or two ago, and we went outside of town and we took some pictures. And he had some interesting comments to make about the pictures. This one here, he says, "Is that name fading, or what's wrong with that?" He said, "Next time they do this, have them paint that all one color." And I said, "Well, I don't know as I have any power over that, but I'll pass along the information."
Reverend Johnson,
Yes.
don't you think that
Do you know how to focus?
our two special guests ought to be in here for this?
Yeah, where are they at?
Don't think that.
I think a reporter has it in the other reporter.
Well, let's go see if they can't.
That's it. Oh, there you are. That's it. That's it.
Well, they ought to see.
Well, these are pictures. I'm sure they've seen the real thing. So let's go ahead with them. Go ahead, Mary, the next slide.
Does anybody in the room want to move their chairs so that they can see better?
Go ahead and move if you'd like to. This is, of course, the ketchup bottle, and as you come up 159 to the ketchup bottle, we sometimes call ourselves the first church north of the ketchup bottle. And you can't miss us if you go by those directions. So that's a good landmark. Go ahead, Bernard. A little closer picture of the ketchup bottle. You're getting closer to the church. And then the next slide. This goes to the City Hall, and we took one picture of the front of City Hall. This is where the original meeting house in the Grove stood. And so imagine that there are a number of trees here, which I suppose that there were back in the early 1800s. And probably in the back of this building somewhere, because the plat shows that the meeting house stood right in the middle of two lots. So it probably would be towards the back of this building, somewhere on the far side of this parking lot, that the original building stood. Okay? This, of course, is the marquee at the present building. I see we're going up in the world.
I think it's all right the way it was.
Yeah, it was okay the way it was. I think. Well, that's okay. There you go. We put this new marquee in about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Go ahead to the next slide. Mike Field, who is very handy with woodwork, did this display thing for us with the Presbyterian symbol in the bottom, made of several different kinds of wood, and the old cornerstone from the previous building, and made a very nice showplace for that. First Presbyterian Church of Collinsville, founded in 1823 by Reverend Solomon Giddings, one of the pioneer churches in Illinois.
Did you tell him that he married one of the Collins guys?
Oh, no, I forgot that. Reverend Giddings married one of the Collins sisters. I don't know whether you knew that or not, but he married into the family. So.
That was before or after the distillery was,
Before he discovered what?
the distillery?
Oh, I think probably before. Go ahead, this is a duplicate slide. Someone has said that the church sits on one of the prettiest corners in Collinsville. That may or may not be true according to what your idea is, but it sure is one of the busiest corners in Collinsville, as you'll know by the automobiles that are going by here. The steeple on top of the roof contains the bell, and I had some pictures of the bell on the videotape that I had, but it was struck in 1854, I think, right around there anyway, in Cincinnati, Ohio. And that bell is still in the steeple there and is rung electronically on Sunday morning. Interesting story about the bell. One day in the office, we kept hearing this bell ringing, and we thought, those crazy Catholics, what do they keep ringing their bell for? And finally I realized that's our bell that's ringing. Somebody had flipped the switch, and the points had stuck, and the bell didn't ring. But evidently the traffic going by vibrating or something had jarred the points loose, and so right in the middle of the morning it started to ring. So we had apologies to make to the Catholics. This is at the cemetery, and this year we put in this flagpole at the cemetery and fly the flag from that now. There is a light that shines on it by night, and on a certain day, what day was that, Doris? When the Confederate flag?
May 16th.
May 16th, Confederate flag flew from that flagpole, and we dedicated the grave of one of the yes, William H. Thompson. Yeah, go ahead. Part of that was the local parson dressed in 1800s garb. I rented that at a theater shop in Belleville.
That was a nice cool day, wasn't it?
Yes, it was hotter than Woodson or something there near. This is part of the ceremonies there. Doris Bauer. Doris has been a wonderful person as far as the cemetery is concerned, going through the records and helping several others in the church do renewing of the records of that cemetery. We're trying to figure out who this man is, huh? Somebody know?
Bob Thompson.
Bob Thompson. This would be one of the descendants of William.
The grandson.
Grandson, okay. I kind of figured that's who it was, but I wasn't sure, so. Okay. There's some more shots of the cemetery on that day. That was a Saturday. That would be the Scott Thompson, who is a radio celebrity in Oklahoma. Yes. And he, of course, came to speak that day. Did a super job of speaking. Did a marvelous job. Okay. Go ahead, Barry. The benediction. Bald-headed guy with his hand up in the air is the one that's doing the praying there. They did fire the cannon off that day and scared Bernard to death. He said he wished he'd known they were going to do it. He had a picture of it. But this was the Fusiliers who did the cannonading. This is William Collins' grave. Okay, go ahead. Michael Squire, who was the first burial. We just put in that tombstone a year or so ago. He was a farmhand who was killed during his labors, and he was the first burial there. That's Thompson, the one that get honored on that. That's his tombstone. I'm pretty sure this is William B. Thompson's grave, but I couldn't swear for sure because you really can't read it. But this would be the son of William Collins, I mean. Excuse me. There's a couple blind spots here. Just keep going there. Okay, this would have been Sunday, I think when we celebrated the cemetery. Yeah, because I had to rent an outfit yet, and I wore it that day. These are just some pictures of what went on that day. If you like watching fat people eat, you'll enjoy these pictures. These are some of the oldest members of our congregation. Yeah, there's Lou Stamen. She prepared this program and for the cemetery. Did a super job of it. Go ahead, Mary. These aren't really the best pictures. Our court photographer is not the best. And keep going. We had a young lady of our congregation, and she showed pictures of the different personalities that are buried in the cemetery. And we're back to the church now. Go ahead. This was that last Sunday morning when we honored the Centennial Committee, and I'm there presenting some corsages to the different ones. Lou Stamen, can't see who the rest of them are. Well, anyway, this is the dinner. This is the final Sunday in July. Back to the Sunday and making presentations to the committee. The woman there on the far left was my wife. There. Okay. Go ahead. Keep going. Again, I'll sing Fat People Eating. Our children's choir sang that morning. This is a picture of them. These are, again, some of the older members of our congregation. Ruby Italiano, Ina Fletcher. Yeah, you are one of the older ones, Ina.
Got a couple of Methodists in there that aren't quite that old.
I don't know about it. Is Ina the gal that got my dollar?
Yeah, that's it. You're going the other way, I think, aren't you? Or?
No, he's going right. Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, go the other way now. Yeah, go the same way. No, the other way.
I'm gonna go sideways.
Yeah. This is Bill Needle, whom many of you know. Bill spoke that morning at the anniversary celebration, and he also presented us a beautiful line drawing of the building just previous to the present one. And that building now, or that picture now hangs in our church.
That's it.
No, I think there's a couple more in there. Oh, guess you're right again. Okay. What we're doing on time. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions? Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to make this presentation for our congregation.
President left.
I remember when we used to play the bad boys back.
Yep, I will. We won't have to be here. We're going to walk.
They have to move to sleep. Leave it on. I started doing this. Break easier.
Thank you, Reverend Johnson. That was a wonderful program, and the back history is really interesting. And it's a token of our appreciation for your children.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see you in January.
Yes, you sure will. Thank you.
Now we have another special thing for this evening, and Mrs. Emily James will make a presentation to the museum, and so she'll be back now.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. I am so proud of all of the work that you've done, and I wish I could have been more of a part of it, the actual putting things together. But I am amazed every time I come to Collinsville to see how many hardworking people have done a beautiful job. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. And it's a very great pleasure for me and my children, my grandchildren, some of them know and some of them don't, to present this bit of Collin's history. It is huge. So forget. This is Sanford, done by a 9-year-old girl whose name was Young. Now, first you consider the family exactly the people. There was an Elizabeth Brooke Pritchard who married one of my Collins. No, we can't tell one woman in Collins to do that either. All of them remember their record, all women. So we have to go back and pledge them kind of stuff of separating who's been here. But anyway, this is a very, very interesting, I'm sorry. Here, this is a very old piece of memorabilia. We think it's quite valuable, but we don't know. We've never had it appraised. But it is done, it's a notification table. It's done, again, from what we can tell, on linen, probably homespun, and it was done in 1809. So that we're with great pleasure we present it to the Collinsville Historical Museum.
Thank you. That is a wonderful addition to the museum. The package came and we opened it Thursday night because we were here at a meeting. And actually, it was just a thrill to get the first look at it. You all have to come up and really take a close look. It's just exquisite work. I do cross stitch, but I wouldn't even put one piece across stitch like that. It is so gorgeous. So I'm sure that the museum appreciates it and they'll have a place of honor. So thank you so much. So I think we'll get right into our business meeting. We'll have the reading of the minutes. Friends of the Collinsville Historical Museum met at 12 p.m. in the Florence Folder Room of the Collinsville Memorial Library. Pledge of Allegiance was led by President Doris Kirby. She announced that Francis von Collin, Josephine Hubert, Mary Esenpriest, and Nona Loretto were hostesses for that day. Lunch was catered by the Sandwich Shop. Mary Children's Chapel recited the prayer before the meal. President Kirby then introduced Mr. Ken Buell. He showed us slides of almost all the county seats, all the county courthouses in the state of Illinois, and gave a talk about them. Very good program. Minutes were read and approved. Patty Coombs, treasurer, reported that the balance in the checking account was $8,246.78, of which $2,030.52 are memorials and donations. CD balance is $1,869.17. Tony Palett asked for host and hostesses for $1998.99. She passed the sign-up paper. President Kirby said that Linda Altenberg could not be present today, but that she needs sitters for the third Friday and the first and fourth Saturdays. Dwight Scarino reported that the Bond House pictures are displayed in the museum. Also a picture of the sand pit that is now Collinsville Ice and Fuel. ABC Training has a complete set of miniatures that are for sale. The museum receives a portion of the sale. President Kirby announced that Joanne Jeffrey, membership chairman, has sent out 27 past due notices and that we will have membership information up and set up at various businesses. Mary and Bill Childress are going to be our nominating committee. President Kirby announced that there will be an executive board meeting on November the 5th at 6:30. 2 attendance prizes of miniatures donated by Don Koontz of ABC Framing were the prizes that night. Lola Ruby made a motion to adjourn. Respectfully submitted, Margaret Rose, Secretary. Are there any additions or corrections to the reading of the minutes? If not, they'll be approved as read. The trade receipt.
Balance on hand as of September 8, 1998 was $8,246.78. Receipts, meals, $336, dues, $55, interest on the checking account for September, $6.63, for October, $6.63, a total of receipts $404.26, brings our total to $8,651.04. Disbursements for the last 2 months: Joanne Gilfrey, $13.64, Denise Marino, $41.29, Family Shop, $323, Denise Marino, $46.16, Illinois Association of Museums, $30, Grandpa Store, $99.99, Secretary of State, $5, Downtown Council, $125, September analysis service charge for the bank was $5, and for October, $6.14. Total disbursement, $715.22. Our total is $7,935.82. We didn't have any donations in those. The CD balance as of October 31st, 1998, $1,879.76.
Are there any corrections to the treasurer's report? If not, it will be accepted and filed for audit. We're going to committee reports. Ina or Leon, do you have anything to report?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for getting their calls into me so early this time, and I really appreciate it. Well, I know that Mary and Lorraine were scared to death. I gave them 69 on Friday and called them up 79 and said 79. Oh, they seem to have survived.
Tony, you,
Well, I think we need three people. What they say. Believe it or not, I went around before and she got signatures. There are, like in January, we have just one hostess. And in March, we have just, no, that's the one that, there's a if question mark on that, she about the other one. And then in November next year, we have another person with Genevieve. In January, it's Janet Kuntzel, so if somebody can help her, if somebody can help Genevieve, and to be the first and the last meetings of the year. So we're open for that. Everybody wants to offer, they're here.
I'm sure that we can get some help for them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Linda? Linda Allberger.
Help.
Help.
It's lost the other one, so I need somebody on the fourth Friday and the third Saturday. Please, somebody. Oh.
It's such a wonderful museum, and we really need to keep, it's only open 3 days, and we really need to keep it open, and we have to have someone there. So it's your museum, so we really need to help Linda. It's not fair that she has to come 3 or 4 Saturdays in a row. So if you possibly can see her and sign up, because it's really, I know a lot of you have done this in years past, but it's a fun thing to do too, really. So if you'll see her, Mary, Marvel or Floyd? Floyd, do you have anything you want to say?
On behalf of the museum staff, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Graves and her granddaughter Christina. It's really our pleasure to have you here tonight. And we're so excited about this wonderful gift to Santa from you and your family. It's a treasure. Thank you. Since the last meeting, this is the last meeting of the year, on behalf of the staff, I'd like to thank all those who give of their time and effort to work at the museum, and especially those who are part of the Monday work crew. And that's Mary and Bill Childress, Norman Walsh Fisher, Philip Finley, the birthday girl, Barbie and Debbie, and Denise. They're a great crew, and it's been a wonderful year. And it's been joy this evening to receive things from people. Mel Paul came up to me and gave me for the museum account, the Alliance for Diamond International Director's pin that belongs to Lawson E. Morris, and he was the only international director elected in supplemental law in Chicago. So it's a wonderful gift from the Lions Club. Also, on the recent occasion, the museum an old German calendar from 1950 that belonged to her mother. And the front page of the Star Times paper in St. Louis in 1941 when World War II was declared. And the Council Herald Justice September page from 1987. And this was a joy, yes. This little cast iron skillet from Collin and George Nance, and it says on the back, Hirschbaum Hardware Company, Collinsville, Illinois. So I just think it's great, like, the question? Haven't copied, so I don't know. Well, we'll look at it. Well, I think, we used to have times when we had a lot of things come in, and the long stretch where we didn't get anything, and now they're starting to come in, and I just think it's great that when new people can come forward with things as well as other people. The museum will be open immediately following the meeting, and our Christmas display is ready, and it's called A Christmas Way. And the satin brocaded wedding dress and the British blue serge suit are vintage early 1940s. They have never before been displayed in the museum, and so come and see our Christmas party.
Thank you, Floyd. Our membership chairperson, Joanne.
I don't have to stand up, do I?
No. Just project.
We have 124 members presently, but we still have 8 people that haven't paid their 98 dues yet.
Joanne's been working really hard on the membership list, trying to bring it up to current, and several people have moved out of town and haven't let us know and that, so she's really worked hard on that. So thanks, Joanne. And also on the table, you have a little folder. And these are the ones that we're passing out. We've taken them to the Chamber of Commerce, down to the Convention Center. They're at Stitch in Time. And Joanne rides the
MCT show.
the shuttle. And so she gives them out on the shuttle bus too. So we're getting around. So we invite all you to take one of these home with you. Give it to a family member, a friend, and just anyone, or a stranger, and have them fill out. And because new members do blood. So, Irving, did you want to say something about membership? Yeah.
Relation to the blank, Wednesday is what?
Veterans Day. On August.
Couple of minutes, or a couple of months, it's one of the things that's taking a lot of room right now. Could tell us and tell you folks, many of you who never understood it, what the Battle of the Bulge was. Why don't you stand up and tell them about the Battle of the Bulge?
Want me to stand up and talk about the Battle of the Bulge? I'm still fighting it, you know? Just as a point of interest, my wife and I just returned from Belgium and Luxembourg. We spent 10 days over there touring the Battle of the Bulge battle sites. And it was very enlightening experience that we had. And the fellows that went along with us and their wives, I think all enjoyed the tour. And we visited spots where I had been many, many years ago. Many more than I can even think about. But it was very interesting, and I hope that all of you will remember the veterans who survived and those who passed away and saved our country, and we have the freedom we enjoy today. Thank you.
There is a parade Wednesday morning at 10:30, kicks off at Wycliffe and goes to the American Legion Post. And Irving Dillard has made every parade that I saw him at. The last, for so many steps. Right up there. Colonel is always there with us.
That's at 10 a.m. Wednesday.
10:30, it kicks
Oh,
off
10:30.
at 10:30 at Wycliffe. It goes to the American Legion Post this year.
Okay, we will remember that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Is there any other old business that we need to attend to? If not, in new business, I have to appoint an audit committee, and they couldn't be here tonight, but Arceline and Ward Booth will be on the audit committee. So, yeah. Okay, Now we need a report from the nominee. Mary, you want to come up here? Your voice is sort of cheesy.
The nominating committee respectfully submits for your approval the following: Jane Burrell for the office of Vice President, Genevieve Shastine for the office of Treasurer, Mary Childress Chairperson, Bill Childress, and Naomi Poe.
Okay, are there any nominations from the floor for the office of Vice President? Are there any nominations from the floor for the office of Treasurer? Hearing none, then I declare the nominations closed, and I'll entertain a motion to accept the report of the nominating committee. Well, they're going to be installed. I'm sure they will. Did you want you? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. I declare Jane Burrell elected to the office of Vice President and Genevieve Shastine elected to the office of Treasurer. And so if the nominees will come forward now, then Mr. Floyd Marino will conduct the installation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jane Burrell. This is Genevieve Shastine. She wanted people to know who they were. Jane Burrell, you've been duly elected Vice President of the Presbyterian Collin Historical Museum, and it's your duty to preside over all meetings in the absence of the President and assist whenever necessary. Do you promise to uphold the duties of your office to the best of your ability? If so, answer, I do. Thank you. Genevieve Shastine, you've been duly elected to the office of Treasurer of the Presbyterian Collin Historical Museum. It shall be your duty to keep full and accurate records of all receipts, contributions, expenditures, to pay the bills, and provide a financial report at the regular scheduled meetings. You promise to uphold the duties of your office to the best of your ability? If so, answer, I do. I now declare you, Jane Burrell, Vice President, and you, Genevieve Shastine, Treasurer, for the ensuing 2-year terms of your elected offices. Congratulations.
Thank you. You also have these on your table, some copies of these. And if you looked at them, you know a little bit about them, but Lord Starr is going to tell you more about them right now.
As you may remember, and I perhaps Reverend Johnson called your attention to last night, yes, we saw the ceremony on the Confederate soldiers. Next year, in May, we'll be doing the ceremony on the Union veterans buried in Glenwood Cemetery. And that's what I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about today. The sons of the Union veterans would like to have a little help on flags, on the 34 star flag that was used during the Civil War period. And you're probably thinking, well, if they're doing the ceremony, why aren't they out there doing all the flags? Well, they have spent their treasury on the big flags, the $1,000 flags. So I wanted to approach you as individuals, not, just as a society, because just as individuals. I thought perhaps some of you who are descendants of these soldiers buried there would like to be the sponsor for that particular flag. And these flags are going to cost about $2 a piece. They have to be specially ordered, and we have to do it 6 or 8 weeks in advance. So we really need to get started on it now. So the deal would be, if you want to call it a deal, whatever, if you do more than one, and we need about 90 of them. And if you're any good at arithmetic, you can arrive at a gross figure. So anything that would be in excess of that amount would be spent on the programs or flyers or some other thing that would be needed for the ceremony. But this will be in May of 99. I don't know the exact date, but that's what we're planning on. Is May 15th? Okay. Thank you, Jean. And the way I've done this was to have made 6 sheets of paper with 16 veterans on each page. And that's what that little thing that you probably have seen on there has to do with. If you wanted to pick a particular veteran, then you may fix a page that corresponds with these numbers on here. The first 16 would be the page 1, and sign your name where it has his name there, and then has sponsor, and so on down to the number 6. I had to put 1 all by himself. And I did forget 1, so the one I forgot is also on page 6. So if you don't particularly care about doing a particular veteran, and you would still like to participate, then I've got a sheet back there that says no preference. So you can just sign your name and your donation, $2, $4, $6, so on. And I'll pick one for you after the other people who wanted to do a particular one have had the opportunity to do that. So if the other way to do it, the real easy way, if you wish to participate, is to write a check and put it in, take it out to Doris Bauer, and honest, I promise I will not run off with the money. I think the people that work with the catch-up files can tell you that, because I handled the $89,000 that we collected under the catch-up files selling shirts. It was all there. We all checked it every day. So, as I say, that would be an easy way of doing it, but if you wanted a particular veteran, you would still need to sign for that particular one, or put it on your check. But that way you have to do only one person probably. So because we'll be ordering the flags, I would be paying the bill from my personal check or from my credit card, whichever is most convenient. And if you would like a receipt for your donation, I'll be glad to provide that. And that's about all I can think of telling you about it. If you have questions, I will see, I know this is, all of a sudden upon you, but we will also be doing this. I will do it again at the January meeting if for some reason you want to participate and you can't do so tonight. Yes, sir.
Tax deductible.
I won't say it's tax deductible because we're not, I don't think anything involved in it is one of those CD or whatever you do to be fully tax deductible. But if, it would not be tax deductible to my knowledge. If you can figure out a way, no, I'm not a tax expert, but it's not coming through a strictly nonprofit organization.
I'm in DAR and I found out if we are a nonprofit organization, they have been putting out as a nonprofit group for having too much non-reported money. I think we should do something useful like this with some money. And I would, I don't want to make it a limit, but I would be for a motion to give
something towards these flags. So please continue to do it.
Why don't we wait until we see she may get, well, hopefully, she'll get all her flags.
You have to have the names.
Pardon?
You have to have the names of people that donate.
No.
You could pass a hat.
Oh, don't worry, there's a basket back there.
When you adjourn, they're gonna hit the door.
No, they're going back there and look at all that. Thanks, Doris. Well, if she doesn't get it tonight, we'll pack the hat in January in front of you. Is there any other business to come? Is there any other business? Oh, you're all Just a few more minutes. Is there any other business to come before? If not, the ticket, you have
I'll
some
make one
business.
announcement. There arrived in the museum today a 5-foot-long scale model of the battleship Missouri, which will be on display for a while. The model was made by Paul O'Gwen, who some of you know was a racetrack photographer, and he worked in between races when he was home. It took him almost 3 years to complete the model. I bought it from him, and Myron Campbell and I electrified it this year. I put ballast in it, and we sailed it twice, and it didn't sink.
Is it in the museum tonight?
It's in there now.
Oh, good. Well, then, that's another reason for you all to visit. And your ticket, Christina drew the winning ticket for this miniature of Monk's Mound, and it'll be posted on the glass door in the museum. So look around, look at the wedding couple and battleships, and sign up at the back, and if there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned. We're adjourned.